What is up, everybody? So in case you're wondering, this is what I was working on for that video absence for a while. It's a 65-gallon aquarium, 36 by 24 by 18. So it's kind of sitting in the garage for a while. Got another one up there too. And I finally decided to make a nature aquarium out of it. If you don't know what a nature aquarium is, just type it into Google or Bing. You'll get some good results. Basically, I designed this, aquascaped it to look like tree roots coming down. See that piece is a different piece. That piece is different. That piece is different. But it all looks like one piece. So that's kind of what I was designing it around. And then here in between all the driftwood is Hydrocotyle Tripartita variation Japan, which is what obviously they use in Japan and in Japanese aquascapes all the time. Then over here we have Lilaeopsis Brasiliensis, I think. I'll put it in this description. This is microsword. It's a pretty slow grower, so I got a bunch of it. That's 6 pots is what you're looking at. 6 2-inch pots, so each plant is about an inch away from the next one, so it'll fill in pretty quickly. Back here we have Bocoba Monori. This is one of the plants I'm growing outside in my immerse setup. It's doing really well. It's one of those plants that doesn't really change depending on where it is, above or below water. I'll get a picture of the ones above water, I'll put it in here, but they look exactly the same immersed and submerged. Their leaves, the distance between the stem, or each leaf and each node, they just didn't really put a lot of work into evolving, but I guess it benefits them pretty well. Back here we have Ludwigia variation rare red. I got it off of eBay. That's all I know about its scientific name, but basically, as you can see, it's really, really red, both underneath it and above it. So unlike Ludwigia, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but one of the much more common Ludwigias, the broadleaf Ludwigia, this guy is red everywhere all the time. It's also got a nice little ripple effect to its leaves. If I can get up close on this one. I hope you can kind of see. It's kind of like a ruffle sword on each leaf. Then around those guys we have Echinodorus Altlandsberg. It's a German variation. It was combined with Echinodorus, I think Rose and Echinodorus Ocelot, and it doesn't really look really well right now, but the leaves get a little bit longer, and each leaf, when it's really young, starts off pretty red. It's a lot redder above water, I guess. But each new leaf starts off red, and the older leaves get greener and greener. It's a pretty nice variation. I've got a bunch of them growing. These are 2 that I was going up outside. There's another one in the middle of all that microsword. And over here we have Cryptocryne Wendtti bronze. All the leaves are still the immersed leaves, so I just planted them yesterday. So I've got to wait a little while for those to die back and then the new leaves to come in. And then after that, for the plant to actually expand. But it looks pretty nice as it is right now. So there's another big shot. Alright, let me go over the fauna real quick. So in here we have, there's only 2 animals in here, which are Malaysian trumpet snails. Let me see if I can find one closer up. Here's one. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but right there in the center of the screen, some Malaysian trumpet snail. These guys eat algae and waste and everything like regular snails, but what's cool about these is that they text message, but these guys burrow underneath the substrate, which I'll talk about in a second. They burrow underneath the substrate, and what they do is they aerate it so anaerobic bacteria can't get down there and like start rotting everything, make the tank terrible, crash and stuff. So basically, if I see one I'll show you, but what they do is they go and they burrow themselves underneath the sand and the aqua soil, which is that, and they just go down and down and down, and they'll just crawl around down there, eat something, but they'll lift up all these bubbles that are down there. So that's really useful. They get about that big, which is about an inch. That's one of the breeders. Got like 3 of them in there, and the rest are all pretty young. And then I have a red tuxedo guppy in here. He's basically just in here to make sure that all the water parameters are okay. Since I've got a CO2 system, highlighting, and pH altering soil, I really want to make sure it's okay for fish. So he's just my test dummy really right now. So he's just swimming around in there. He's been in there for about 6 days, 7 days. So from what I can tell, everything's okay. There's been a bunch of pH alterations because my tap water in that sink is like 8.1 on the pH scale, and I need the pH to be around 6.5. The aqua soil changes the pH, lowers it, and so does the CO2. So like I put a bunch of high pH water in, and I dechlorinated it, and then over maybe a day it lowers down to about 7, and then the next day to 6. Excuse me, but so I'm just making sure it's okay for him. I'm still working on the other fish I'm going to put in here later. I'm just going to wait a couple of months maybe to let all the plants grow in before I put anything in here other than shrimp or autocats. So basically, just it's going to be him in there for a while. If you guys have any suggestions of what you think I should put in here, leave a comment or PM me. But I'm thinking something like a micro-rasbora, some Echinodorus hasboroughi, and Dario, which is scarlet batis. I'll put them all in the link, or I'll put a link in the description for all of the fish. But they're all really small, which is kind of the effect I would need to really emphasize the size of the plants. Yeah, let me go over the hardware real quick. So on this tank we have a Odyssey 4 bulb T5 and LEDs. It's also got a built-in timer, so as you can see it's 2:07 right now. Every day at 8 o'clock 2 of the bulbs go off, and then 10 o'clock the other 2 bulbs go out, and 2 minutes later the LEDs will come on. Let me show you real quick. So if you look at the tank, I'll turn one T5 set off, then the next set, then I'll turn on the LEDs. So that's what it looks like at night. Really nice blue LEDs. So yeah, so there are 4 bulbs, 4 T5s. They're all plant-specific bulbs. I think maybe one of them are like aquarium specific, so like super white or something like that. Yeah. Around back here are my accent plants, I guess. They, for me, they kind of add a 4th dimension to the tank. So right here is a bamboo plant that's been in all of my a lot of my tanks for the past like 4 years. That's how it's grown like that big. It's about 2 feet for some perspective. Here is a I'm drawing a blank. What is this? Totally forgot, but basically it's kind of like a mini tree, bonsai tree. That's what I'm thinking of. But so this is in the back as it grows, kind of like grows over the lighting system. Now for filtration and stuff like that. Down here, we got my automatic sensor LEDs. We have the fluval 306 filter, canister filter. Which isn't all the way on for some reason, but I used this on my dad's 56-gallon tank, and it worked amazingly, so I decided to use it on this one too. Same results, amazing filter. Possibly one of the best, one of the best simple canister filters for lower size tank. I'm over filtering this tank by maybe 15 gallons, something like that. So the 306 is meant for I think 70 gallons or 80 gallons, something like that. Then in Prime, of course, big bottle of Prime dechlorinator. And as I ordered this from Dr. Foster & Smith, which I don't recommend buying things like RO systems or fish from. They have a fish section. They do have really good hardware. Otherwise, they gave me some free replacement cartridges and stuff. Then we have my Pinpont Ph controller. This is what controls the CO2 system. And maybe later I'll put a like an aeration system, like an air pump or something. But basically, this is my CO2 generator. CO2 is plugged into a timer, and the timer is plugged into this. So every day at I think 9 o'clock, the timer turns on. So this guy starts working on the CO2, and every time it gets below, every time it reaches 7.53, it'll turn off. Every time it goes below 6.72, that's when the air pump will turn on. Right now it's at 7.56, so it's got like three more hundredths of a degree to go before it turns off. And then my food is the Sierra, what is that, Zero Nip, O-Nip or something like that. It's really cool food. I got it from Dr. Smith's too. Everything in here is from them, but basically little pellets that you stick on the side of the glass and or acrylic, and it'll stick there. And fish will just eat it off the wall. I used it a lot. I bought 2 of them, and I used the other one already in like 2 weeks on my fish room. Those guys loved it. And then I've also got New Life Spectrum community formula. This is basically community pellets. Yeah, that's everything down there. Let's go up here. And then we have the CO2 system. This is a carbon block system. So basically, there's a carbon block in the middle of carbon. Electricity passes through, and it basically diffuses into the water. Personally, I like it a lot better than pressurized CO2 systems. They only make them up to, I think, 75 gallons. This is the one that goes up to 75 gallons. It's called the New Life CO2. This is the second one, obviously. And so if you have anything bigger than a 75 gallon, you're going to have to get 2 of them, which is where maybe pressurized CO2 is going to come in more handy. But basically, every 3 to 4 months, you get a new carbon block. Each one costs about $30, which is a lot better than buying a new canister, or going out to refill or something. It's a lot cheaper per month per se if you have a large enough tank. You can also set it to how much CO2. Right now, I've got relatively high, but not too high. Just enough for my plants. Then over here we have the pH probe for that Pinpont pH meter, and my heater. Let me zoom out real quick. My heater is I totally forgot what my heater is called, but it's a basic internal aquarium heater. You don't need anything too complicated. It was too tall for this, like where the dirt it starts and where the tank ends. So I kind of buried it underneath. So it's a little bit of an undergravel heater, a little bit of a non-undergravel heater. But when you do a heater, you want to put it as close to the output of the water from the filter, so it spreads out through the tank. And that is it for hardware, and I'm going to go over dosing. So, dosing on this tank, I have ADA Aqua Design and Mono's Nature Aquarium Brightly K, which is potassium, obviously, K, potassium, and Green Brightly Step 1. Green Brightly Step 1 you use for the first 3 months, I believe. On this tank I do 13 and technically a half pump, but 13 pumps each day, and Brightly K, same thing. And then here is Green Bacter Aqua Design and Mono 2. I use it 27 drops once a week now. It used to be 27 drops every day. Then after the first week, it drops to once a week. It's all in liters, so if you're in America or the other 2 countries that don't use the metric system, you're gonna have to convert it. And then this is my Aqua Design and Mono drawer. Basically, this is substrate stuff. Here's the case for the Bacter 100. Here's Clear Super. Here's the Green Bacter. PNEC W, which is for the aquarium. PNEC P for plants. Basically, all this stuff it goes under substrate. And the cases for the Green Brightlies. Then I've got a bunch of aquarium plants first. Aquariumplants.com pellet fertilizers. You're gonna use those when substrate starts to run dry in a couple, like 6, 7, 8 months. So turn this stuff on. If you can see that orange streak right there, and that kind of powder white, that is PNEC W, PNEC P, the Clear Super, and all of that. Basically, you put it underneath your main substrate, and some of them go underneath the entire substrate, like PNEC W and PNEC P. So what it does is, a lot of them have bacteria in them, and the bacteria help the root system of the plants grow and help anaerobic bacteria stay not alive. So the root growth on these guys in the past month has been pretty good. They're almost down there in the sand, so they've got a little ways to go. But basically, the substrate system is aqua soil on top, Zanu Amazonia, then sand and the PNEC W and all of that. Then you have lava rock. This is 10 pounds, 11 pounds of lava rock I got off eBay. And then egg crate on the bottom to give it a little lift. So basically, the egg crate is obviously just to give it a little lift. I got 4 stacks of 2 panels, 2 like 5-inch panels. You can't really see them, obviously, but they're in there. Then on top of that, you put the lava rock, and lava rock is really porous substrate, so you don't get a lot of anaerobic bacteria, and you get a lot of water passage through it. Then on top of that, sand is just to give it some elevation, and I've had some extra sand. Then aqua soil. Yeah, I had some powder aqua soil, but it ended up just sinking through, and I didn't have enough, so I ended up just using sand. Like you can see there. Didn't really need it after all, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's the substrate system. So basically, at the end of that, and the end of that is where the aqua soil stops, and the sand begins. So everything over there is just beach sand, and then as you go up the hill, more and more aqua soil for the plants. So that is what I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. So good to finally get another video up. It's been a while. And see you guys later with either an update on this fish room, or I'll show you guys my immerse setup. Alright.